Hello and welcome to the Heimatzaal. My name is William and I'm a former student here at the university. Back in 2011, I came here as a student. I studied psychology and then after a few years, briefly moving back to the United Kingdom, I decided Groningen is the place where I would like to live. So I packed my bags and moved back to this gorgeous city and started working as a teacher for psychology. Meanwhile, I've left that behind me, but I still work for psychology as a study advisor. So for those of you who might come here to study with us, maybe we'll see each other around. But until then, I first want to tell you something about this great, fantastic building. We're here in the Academy building. It's been here for a while. It hasn't been here in this particular way that we see it around us, because it's actually been rebuilt quite a few times. However, this is today what we consider the heart of our university. One of the things you might have spotted whilst walking through the Academy building is a portrait of our Ubbo Emmius. And right next to it, you might have also spotted his gravestone. Ubbo Emmius was our first Rector Magnificus, and thus is widely seen as the father of our university that was founded back in 1614. Another very interesting feature of the Academy building is the staircase itself. It's not only a beautiful place where you can take pictures after you've graduated with your master's, bachelor's, or maybe even your PhD, but actually if you look behind it, you'll see an array of colourful glass. Those windows actually represent the history of our university. You can see, for instance, the three variations of the Academy building, both previous versions burnt down actually. In the middle, you'll see Ubbo Emmius surrounded by the first professors of this university. Surrounding it, you'll see the 6 windows, including an image of the goddess Minerva, as well as the 5 faculties that the university had back in 1614. Another feature of this building is the room we're standing in right now, the Heimatzaal. It's on the ground floor of the Academy building, and back in 1909, when this room was built, it was incredibly modern. Actually, it's the only lecture hall in this building that's still in its original state. Maybe in a few months' time, when you're here in the city, you might be sat right here in this room with 120 of your peers, colleagues, friends, listening to a lecture about, well, that really depends on what you're going to study actually. But who knows, maybe this is where you're going to be taught. Interestingly enough, this room is actually named after Gerard Heijmans. He is an internationally famous psychologist and philosopher. The reason I tell you this is because Gerard Heijmans is actually also the name giver to the building at which I work, the Department of Psychology. Because of course the Academy building is not the only building that we have in this city. Unlike other universities, our university is actually spread out across the entire city, and we don't really have a campus. So for instance, if you decide to study law, you might sit in the Harmonie building, which is right here in the city centre. If you study psychology with us, you'll be located in the north of the city, very close to the Noorderplantsoen, which is one of the beautiful parks that the city of Groningen has to offer. Maybe you go and study business or the sciences, and then you'll be located at our Zernike campus, which is even further in the north, right on the edge of the city. But enough about the city. Let's start talking about what it's like actually studying here at the University of Groningen. Well, the first thing I want to tell you is that Groningen is a fantastic place to be. Not only to study, but also to live. Groningen is incredibly international. When you arrive here, one of the first things you'll notice are all the different languages that people are speaking on the street. Of course, you'll hear English and Dutch, but you'll also hear German, French, Spanish, Chinese, you name it. In addition, it's also a really safe environment to live in. Groningen is a small town that feels like a big city. We have everything you need, and once you arrive here, well, you'll probably not need to leave. That's probably also for the best, because you're going to have to spend time on finding new friends, getting used to a new environment, a new culture, food. Some of you might even have to live with housemates for the first time in your life, Or others might actually have to live by themselves for the first times in their life. These are so many things that can actually be quite overwhelming. So an important thing that I want to pass on to you today is actually to think about how can we deal with all of this novelty in our lives. Now, the important thing is that we need to remember that we're all social creatures. We're herd animals. So that means we need to find a platform. We need to find a partner in crime who can help us through this period. This period obviously being anything from maybe the first few days to the first few months, if not your entire university career. This person could be a friend, a childhood friend, or someone you've only just recently met here. It could be one of your peers that you met during either an introductory event or that you met in a lecture or a seminar. It could also be a family member, someone that you trust and that you feel comfortable talking to when embarking on this journey. Whoever you choose to be your partner in crime, the important underlying thing is to share your experiences with people. This can be challenging not only if you're maybe in your home country, but also if you're here in the city. And either way, you can work on creating a network, or a digital network even. There are many groups on social media, be it Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whichever you prefer, of students who are in a very similar situation to what you are, and they all want to share their experiences. So that's something I really want to invite you to work on, a digital network. And most importantly, throughout the university, there are many people who can help you out in various situations. All you have to do is ask. That's the important thing. Don't forget to ask questions. If you don't know, there definitely is someone in this city who will know. With all that said and done, there's one more thing that I'd like to share with you. And that's an important question anyone should ask themselves when deciding to go and study. And that is, why do you want to study? It doesn't matter if you go to the RUG, or if you go to the Hanse, or any other university in this world. The important thing to know is why. And in order to help you answer this question, I want to introduce you to a theory called self-determination theory. Self-determination theory is a theory that really tries to identify the core reasons as to why we're motivated to do something. Self-determination theory consists of three components. You've got relatedness, autonomy, and competence. In the beginning, this might sound like three random words, but I just want to briefly spend some time on talking about each and every one of them. The first one I want to talk to you guys about is relatedness. So relatedness, you could also understand to be something like, I want to do this because others believe in me. That is, you get your motivation from your environment. So maybe your parents, your friends, or other people you've met in your life have helped you better understand that you actually want to study the subject that you've chosen. The next one is autonomy. And autonomy can also be understood as, I decided I wanted this, so I will do it. So this means that your motivation comes from inside of you. You're the one that decided to go and study this subject. The third component of self-determination theory is competence. Competence stands for, I can do this because I am blank. You can fill in anything that suits you and matches your motivation for why you might be good at this. For now, I want to ask you to sit down and think about these three elements and how they apply to you. So relatedness, autonomy, and competence. Write them down, and whilst you're writing them down, I want you to understand that there are no right or wrong answers at this point, because your motivation is unique to you. But why I want you to do this is to help you better understand why you are motivated to come here and why you're motivated to start studying. With that being said, I want to thank you all very much for your time. I hope that you've learned a few things, at least from the last few minutes. And again, just think about those three key elements. Once you've got those down, maybe that will help you get better insight into what you could already do or work on right before you arrive here in Groningen.